Hey there everyone, AJ back again for the Mighty Gluestick channel. I make videos about Dungeons & Dragons lore full-time and have a collection of over 600 monster ecology, fantasy world history, character class, and magic item videos on my channel. If you like what I do, please consider becoming a member of the channel by clicking the join button down below or backing me on Patreon, where you can get access to all of the scripts I write for these videos. Members of either also become members of the secretive Gluminati on my Discord server, and of course subscribing to me here as I upload at least twice a week and have a live stream every weekend. I also encourage you to run some games on Discord during this time. The creature resembles a powerful draconic monstrosity, but even a brief glance shows that it is not, or maybe it is more than, a dragon. Its tiny, pale purple scales might be the dragon thing's most normal feature. Its wings are hardly more than fleshy layers of skin, and 4 long tentacles grow out of the neck where its head should be, with 2 white, bloated, lidless orbs behind the tentacles serving as the creature's eyes. Mind Flayers are well known for their alien techno-organic mutagenic science and weird, often extremely cruel and evil, unwilling transformations of enslaved creatures into new and terrible forms of life. This makes a lot of sense when you consider that the Mind Flayers themselves are unnatural, transformed creatures completely enslaved by an alien parasite, who in turn are the thralls of a dominating overlord master mutant brain that directs and controls their social structure and many of their day-to-day activities. Freedom and free will are subjective and transient concepts to the Mind Flayers, who are just one part of the larger Illithid species, and the population on the world of Toril are just a relatively tiny and scattered population of backwater survivors, cut off from a much larger and more dominant empire that spans thousands of worlds and many other planes of existence. In their isolation, the elder brains of each colony plan and strategize constantly, looking for ways to reassert their dominance on the planet, and their most powerful tool is their ability to infect and transform other creatures into new forms of Illithid hybrid creatures. The transformation of a host creature is called seromorphosis, and is accompanied by inserting a 10-year-old Illithid tadpole into the brain cavity of a victim. Normally the victim is kept docile and controlled by mind blasting it into a near vegetative state, using powerful psychic abilities of the Mind Flayers. The tadpole starts to eat away at the brain tissue immediately and gradually assume control of the body, grafting itself into the brainstem and pumping out mutagenic cells that slowly transform the rest of the body. The process of transformation is very taxing on the Illithid brain mass, since consuming the brain tissue in the first few hours provides it the only substantial nutrition it can have until the body is transformed to match its own metabolic requirements. That is why the size and nature of the host body is so critical to the process, and why humanoids and medium-sized creatures are the most successful candidates for seromorphosis. Trying to transform a creature as large as a dragon is normally impossible. Also, since an Illithid brain mass is still a parasite, it can only supplement its dietary and energy requirements from the host body. It still needs to continue eating brain tissue to survive. In a way, many Illithids feel more like they reside inside the body, piloting it, rather than all of their body being identified as themselves. Though the bonding process is highly variable, and this may be true of more so for some than others. In the case of dragons, the process must occur when the dragon is young enough to be of a reasonable size and have enough brain tissue to sustain the Illithid tadpole, but even so, it requires a lot more external support to keep the tadpole alive during the seromorphosis, and it takes a lot to keep the dragon sedated and weakened to the point its body can't fight back or simply shut down and die. There has been no doubt many attempts at this process before the proper balance was found and a successful hybrid was created. One way this is done is to construct specialist laboratory spaces and breed mutated creatures to serve as nothing more than support organs that are grafted onto the dragon while it transforms, and who will be exhausted completely by the process, dying shortly before it's complete. This would take a lot of time to prepare and be very complicated, and there are many steps and components which carry great risks of failure. In other cases, the dragon is instead placed into the brine pool of the elder brain itself to oversee the process and support the Illithid tadpole by sheer psychic power and the nourishing brine itself with its slurry of immature tadpoles. But this is a shortcut that will no doubt end in utter disaster, because the resulting Brainstealer dragon will most likely break free of the elder brain's control and attack it and devour its brain tissue, severing the psychic overlord's control over its Mind Flayer thralls and its link from the astral to the prime material plane. Truth is, such an occurrence is unlikely to be possible by just the young Brainstealer dragon alone. It's probably a result of sabotage from the astral plane, where Githyanki agents have found out that this is occurring and stage a serious assault on the elder brain there, and for just a split second it shifts its attention away from controlling the dragon. A fatal error. Consuming a 10-foot wide greasy ball of undead brain meat fuels an extraordinary growth spurt and power surge in the Brainstealer dragon, and in a very short period of time it has thrown the colony into complete, absolute chaos, murdering the controlling intelligence and assuming command. Emerging from the secure brain pool chamber as a much larger and more formidable creature with enough psychic power to defend itself from the whole colony and enough physical power to tear the Mind Flayers to bits if they step out of line. This is not true of every Brainstealer dragon's origins, but it's happened more than once, and when free of the Illithids' control, the Brainstealer is damn near impossible to take control of once more. Brainstealers dwarf any other Illithid hybrid, also known as seromorphs, with flesh immune to all acid attacks and an ever-increasing resistance to non-magical physical attacks. In colonies where such bold experimentation is creating them, it's also usually other seromorphs, such as the Mind Witness, a combination of an Illithid tadpole and a captured beholder. Again, Brainstealers have no problem physically threatening any creature around them with a swift and brutal dismemberment, but don't let their size and monstrous appearance fool you. Brainstealers are formidably intelligent masterminds, manipulative and scheming in the extreme. Brainstealers establish mental dominance over a whole region of the deep Underdark, and they twist other underworld creatures to their will, including colonies of Mind Flayers which the Brainstealer has taken over after hunting down and murdering the colony's elder brain. Dragons are certainly highly intelligent predators, but not even the conniving personality of the green dragons can match the information gathering and deceptive skills of the Brainstealer. To make matters so much worse, the Brainstealers hugely augment their formidable draconic power with a complete array of psychic powers that just grow stronger as they age. They have no need of a breath weapon when their Mind Blast is capable of dropping victims in their tracks, their minds stunned with the damaging roar of mental energy. The Mind Blast of a Brainstealer combines the stunning effect of the Mind Blast with the greatly increased range of a dragon's breath weapon. To keep it simple, this is typically 60 feet for an adult Brainstealer dragon and requires, it's a cone, and requires a DC 20 wisdom saving throw to avoid being stunned for 1d4 plus 2 rounds. Any additional effects I leave up to you. Brainstealers typically begin combat with a Mind Blast, then single out and rip apart the limbs of still functional victims to disable them and leave them less able to defend against grapples. Then the Brainstealer will close into range of its head tentacles and use them to extract the still living brains and consume them. As they don't have the jaw and formidable bite of a normal dragon, the talons of the Brainstealer are longer and more dangerous than usual. They form their primary means of attack aside from their tentacles, but the tentacles are also fairly sensitive and vital to their means of feeding themselves, so they reserve them for mainly attacking helpless victims. The average claw attack from a Brainstealer adult is plus 12 to hit and inflicts 2d6 plus 8 slashing damage with a 5-foot range. It makes 2 claw attacks per round and can opt to use an extra claw attack as a legendary action per round on another creature's turn during that round. They can also make 1 tail attack or make use of one of their psychic abilities. Their psychic abilities can include detect thoughts, levitate, command, and telekinesis at will, and once per day they can use dominate monster, plane shift, self, and wall of force. I should mention I strongly encourage you to pick and choose traits from both adult red dragons and elder brains to create your Brainstealer dragon. Plus add something unexpected, such as a chance that physical contact with the creature's blood can cause vivid and terrifying hallucinations, which function effectively just like dragon fear. Or give it a fully prehensile tentacle instead of a tail, or make its wings have a chance to absorb low-level spells. Have eyes sprout out along its neck, or give it an unexpected resistance to something, or perhaps the power to regenerate when it consumes fresh brains. It's an aberration. It should be a unique and weird monster each and every time, with no 2 Brainstealers being exactly alike. So look over the listings for the 2 creatures. The combination of a red dragon's senses and the psychic life sense of the elder brain is impressive, as is the elder brain's ability to form a telepathic hub for its minions, or lash out and break the concentration of spellcasters. Brainstealers are incredibly rare, and I doubt there's ever been more than 1 or 2 on the world of Toril at any given time. They do pose a serious threat to Mind Flayers as a race, so the Illithids will go to extraordinary means to deal with one, should they find out about its existence in the wild. This could be very well where the player characters get drawn into an encounter with one of these horrific things. Because they are so unusual and rare, there simply isn't any lore for them outside of an article in Dragon magazine, and that was basically just bare bones statistics. So time to go out and craft your own legends and tales of these horrific creatures and share it with your friends. There are a number of homebrew listings for Brainstealer dragons on the D&D Beyond website that anyone can access and use. The two most viewed listings that I saw are for Challenge Rating 15 Brainstealer Dragon by Nederick and a Challenge Rating 25 Ancient Brainstealer Dragon by Datpillow. Compare all the listings and find what works for you. Please hit the like button if you made it this far, subscribe if you like what I do, check out my Patreon for some exclusive content and all the full scripts for these videos, buy some merchandise, wear your geek with pride, and as always, thanks for listening and I'll be back with more for you very soon.